Okay, this is Unit 4, Day 3. I've already done this one in Part 1, so I want to hold this handy. And now we're going to look at the rest of these notes. And this goes over some of the same information and then does some practice problems here. First of all, we're talking about when the lines are parallel. And we reminded you that they need to have some kind of symbols denoting that the two lines are parallel. What we do to show that lines are parallel is I put a little arrow on each line, and that shows that those are parallel. And I'm going to do that on these so we can tell that these are parallel. And here they already put it there on that one, showing that in each case these pairs of lines are parallel. If the lines are parallel, the other line we cut it with is called the transversal. Notice that when we did it the first time on here, I was running the transversal sideways, but I can just as easy turn it to the side like this. Here's my parallel lines, there's my transversal. Here's my parallel lines, there's my transversal. And we already talked about the angles are congruent if the lines are parallel, and vice versa. So here, it's talking about alternate interior. So if we want to look at our reference, interior means the ones inside these two lines. So we're talking about the ones inside here. And alternate means we're talking about the one on this side and the one on this side. And we know that they're congruent. And then what it tells me here is now we're going to put some numbers to it. And I scooted in on this so that we could see it a little bit better. It says A is 50. What if I know A is 50? Well, if A is 50, and we said that alternate interior angles are congruent, A and B are the same size. So B is also 50. And these two add up to 180. So we know this one is 130. And this one is also going to add up to 180. So this is 130, or we could also say 1 and 2 are alternate interior angles, so they have to be the same. So B is 50, 1 is 130, and 2 is 130. Our next one is alternate exterior angles. So that's the ones on the outsides. Here we're saying, what if this is 120? Well, if this one is 120, notice this is like these right here that we did earlier. We're talking about opposite sides of the transversal and on the outside of the line. So it's this one and this one. One's on the left, one's on the right, and they're outside of these lines right here. Likewise, these two add up to 180, so this one has to be 60, and the alternate one that goes with that is 2 is 60. So B is 120, 1 is 60, and angle 2 is 60. Corresponding angles, remember, are the ones that line up. We put that on this page earlier. They're the ones where if I slid it down exactly, it would match up, like the orange one with the orange one, the blue one with the blue one, and so on. So here, I'm going to color these kind of like we did earlier. So I just used some colors so we can see. Again, we're talking about what if I take this one and slide it down and match it up with this one. And what they tell me here is that what if angle 1 is 150? Well, if 1 is 150, this is a vertical angle, so I know it's also 150. And I know that the one right beside it has to add up to 180, so this is 30 and this is 30. Now if I slide them down, the corresponding angle at the bottom is equal to the one at the top. So the two yellow ones are the same size because they're corresponding. So this one is 150. And then this is a vertical angle, it's 150, and notice it's the same as that one. The two purple ones are the same, and the two blue ones are the same. So, let's go through and fill out our little chart here. 1 is 150, 2 is 30, 3 is 150, 4 is 30, 5 is 150. Oh, I did that one already. 3 is 150. 7 is 150, and 8 is 30. And then we got a little review one, because we got vertical angles. What if 1 is 95? Then what's 3? Well, that's 95. These two are supplementary, so they have to add up to 180, so that's 85. And these two are vertical, so this one's 85. Now we're going to name some types of angles. I'm going to scoot out here. And they want us to name the kind of angles. I'm going to abbreviate them like this. Alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and vertical. So I'm going to use those symbols here at the bottom. So 2 and 7. 2 and 7 are right here. And what you should do with this is cover up the parts you don't need. 2 and 7 are both right here. So I just want to look at those. Well, 2 and 7, they're on the inside of these, and they're on opposite sides of this transversal. So those are alternate interior. 10 and 15, well, they're not on this part. They must be over here. 10 and 15, they're on this part. 10 and 15 are opposite sides of this transversal, inside, alternate interior. 5 and 7 are on this side. 5 and 7 are on the top and the top. They match up. If I slide it down, those are corresponding. 12 and 10. That's back over here on this side. 12 and 10, if I slide it down, these match up. Those are also corresponding. 3 and 16. 3 and 16 are on this bottom one. So again, I would suggest you cover this up to look at the parts you need. 3 and 16, that's this one and that's this one. They're on the exterior, and they're on opposite sides of this transversal, so those are alternate exterior. 14 and 11. They're on this side. 14 and 11, opposite sides, and the inside of these, so that's alternate interior. 4 and 5, they're on this side. 4 and 5, they're on alternate sides, and they're on the exterior of these, alternate exterior. And 4 and 12. 4 and 12 are just on this part. 4 and 12, if I take this and slide it over, they perfectly match up, so that's corresponding. On the back, we're now going to talk about the kinds that add up to 180 and are supplementary. So here we have two angles here. These are on the same side of the line, just like we put on our previous page over here, same side. And these are on the interior, so it's like these, where we had the green ones were on the interior, and the yellow ones were on the interior of these two parallel lines. So these are alternate interior. If this one is 70, this one here is going to be, they need to add up to 180, so this has to be 110. On this one, they're on the same side of the line on the exterior, and they have to add up to 180, so if one is 105, this one has to add up to 180, so this one has to be 75. We also have a new name here that we're going to call a linear pair. A linear pair are two that add up to 180, like these two here. So it's like supplementary, but here we're just talking about a pair, so we're just talking about two that add up. If I tell you that 3 is 120, what is 2? Well, those are a linear pair because they add up to 180, so this one has to be 60. Okay, so let's do a few more examples here. Again, I've got two sets of parallel lines, so I should only look at the part that I need for each question. So number 5 and 9. Well, those are both on this part here. 5 and 9 are on the inside of these parallel lines. Same side of the transversal, so those are same side interior. 1 and 4, that's over here. 1 and 4, they're on the outside of these lines, 1 and 4. And the same side of the transversal, so that's same side exterior. 15 and 3, okay, that's here at the bottom. 15 and 3 are on the same side, and they're on the outside of these lines, so that's same side exterior. 8 and 5, that's on this side. 8 and 5 are on the exterior of these two lines, and they're on the same side of the transversal, so that's same side exterior. Okay, and finally, we have some problems where they're going to ask me some questions with some numbers. So what if 5 is 75? What is 11? Well, I kind of have to work around here. If this is 75, then I know 13 is also 75. And then I would also know that 15 is 75. So what would 11 have to be? Well, those two would be supplementary, so they need to add up to 180. So this would have to be 105. Now I'm going to totally erase these numbers. I'm not using those anymore. Now I'm going to say, what if 12 is 100? What does 1 have to be? Well, I'm going to work around again. If this is 100, what's this? Well, those are corresponding, so that's 100. And if this is 100, what's this? This is 100. So what does 1 have to be? Well, it has to add up to 180 here, so this has to be 80. Again, erase these numbers and start again. If 7 is 15 degrees, now I realize that 7 doesn't look like 15 degrees. But remember, I said before that you can't look at the size of the angle on the picture and make the decision. You have to go with what's in the problem. So if 7 is 15, what is 16? Well, those are not one of our specific kinds, but if I start here, if 7 is 15, then this one has to also be 15. And then if this one happens to be 15, these two have to add up to 180, so this one has to be 165. Erase that again. Now what if I say angle 4 is 110, they want me to find 5. Well, those are alternate exterior angles, so those have to be the same, so this one has to be 110.